All right, welcome to Five for Fightin hockey. Just gonna start off. Thanks to Scott Moore for all the production, not just little like lights and camera. We got all the production over here. We're gonna start off with just quick scores around the league right now. As of right now, 12:08 in the second. We got Flames up by one over the Bruins. We got Vancouver down by one to the Montreal Canadiens with 6 minutes into the second. Excuse me, 6 minutes left in the second. Toronto Maple Leafs over the Lightning 3-2. Big game to watch as we move forward with about like 18 games left. Going forward, should be interesting going down the stretch. You got top teams in the league, Boston, Tampa, and Washington. Speaking of Washington, we got 2-0 over the Jets. 9:57 left in the second. Jets currently on the power play. Devils over the Red Wings right now, 1-0, end of the first. Chicago down by one to St. Louis, another contender in the West. Probably the biggest threat in the West going forward. They got 9:30 left in the first. Ottawa's tied with the Predators. 9 minutes left in the first. Florida, crap team. They'll be on against the Coyotes at 9 o'clock. Should be coming up within the next half hour or so. We also have 2-1 Rangers over the Islanders. Too bad they didn't make a move yesterday because there were talks that Kreider could have gone to the Islanders. That would have been fucking stupid, but all right. 2:56 left in the second. Sharks down 3-1 to the Flyers. Flyers another contender in the West for a wild card spot. 3:47 left in the second. Dallas over the Hurricanes right now, 3-1, 8:10 left in the second. Columbus down by one to Minnesota, 9:50 left in the first. And finally, we have Edmonton against Anaheim at 10 o'clock tonight. Big story for the Edmonton Oilers getting Andreas Athanasiou from the Red Wings. Actually, not a bad return for the Red Wings. I believe they got, well, I actually really don't know until I actually look it up. But nonetheless, Oilers picking up Andreas Athanasiou, looking like he's going to play with Connor McDavid, along with, what's his face on the right side? Shit. Well, nonetheless, that's going to be a top line on the Oilers. They're looking on the bright side coming up in the West. Currently, as the standings go right now, you're looking at in the East for the conference. You're looking at Boston, Tampa, Washington, Pittsburgh, Philly, and New York Islanders, along with Columbus as well. Looking on the outside in, you got Carolina, New York Rangers, Florida Panthers, and the Sabres, and Montreal. Guys, way on the outside, you're looking at the Devils, Ottawa, and Detroit Red Wings actually are out of contention. They have already been eliminated with like less than 20 games left in the season. And we're just getting right now that the Bruins just scored a shorthanded goal.
Now it's Flames. Flames power play. Saved by Rask.
Nope, not according to Twitter.
Oh, we delayed over here?
Yep, that's what it's looking like. My TV over here is delayed. Looking like a shorty. Don't know by who. We'll take a look. Looks like Marchand with the shorty. Bear with me here while I watch this go down.
Here we go.
Yep. Breakaway to the backhand to the forehand. Signature move by a couple of the players. Coyles hit a few of those on the breakaway. But in the meantime, going away from that, we're going to get back to yesterday's trade deadline. Big moves by Tampa, along with Washington. Washington and picked up Brendan Dillon, defenseman from San Jose. Looked like he would have been a good fit for the Bruins on their back end for defensive depth. But honestly, for what he was worth, not too bad. Looking back on specifically on the Bruins front, Friday doing a deal, getting Backus off the books with picking up Andre Kache from the Anaheim Ducks. In that trade, sending Backus along with 75% of his contract. And prospect Axel Anderson, quoted by Bruce Cassidy, saying the first time he saw him, thought he was someone's kid. Actually saying, like, what parent brought their kid to work today. So, doesn't really seem like they had too high of remarks to say about Axel Anderson. Hopefully he does something with Anaheim. All the power to him. Good luck to Backus in Anaheim as well. In addition to that, giving away a first-round pick. Thought we could have used that for Paul Mary, but what are you going to do? Everybody was saying Kreider. Fuck Kreider. We don't need another left shot, left wing. We're fine down the left side as it's looking right now. Getting into the other addition that we made on Monday in Nick Ritchie, brother of Brett Ritchie, who we waived a few months ago. Should be interesting to see whether or not he actually does something, unlike Brett. Overall, not too bad. Trading Dan Heinen to Anaheim for Nick Ritchie, adding in size, give or take the same player in terms of points and goals. Other than that, the size was the biggest thing for the Bruins coming out of the trade deadline. I'm gonna look back at some updated scores right now. We got 3-0 Capitals over the Jets, as well as like we had said before, or like I had said before, 1-1 Bruins Flames, along with 2-2 Montreal and Vancouver. Got 1-1 St. Louis and Chicago. 4-2 Toronto over the Lightning. That's a big game going into the Atlantic Conference, the Atlantic Division. You're looking like the top three, once again, are going to be Boston, Toronto, and Tampa. Bruins currently have a 5-point lead over Tampa. It should be interesting going down the stretch in the last 18 or so games where Tampa's got about a game in hand on the Bruins. Let it be known to see that the Bruins will probably shit themselves going down the stretch and lose that home ice in the East, but we'll see what happens. Going back to some more of the trades that happened. Let me bring these up here. Oh, something I wanted to touch upon. Joe Thornton, Jumbo Joe on the San Jose Sharks. Original first-round draft pick of the Boston Bruins back in, I believe, late 90s or so. Played with the Bruins, captain of the Bruins for years. Was dealt back in 07 and 08 or 09, somewhere around there. Lot of talk going into the trade deadline that he was going to be moved possibly back to Boston, that he wanted out. Come to find out a day later after the trade deadline that he was, quote unquote, very disappointed that he wasn't traded. He wanted a shot at the cup. He's getting up there in age. So could have been useful to the Bruins on their fourth line, center that fourth line, and then you have another place for Corrali on that right wing on that third line with Coyle and now Nick Ritchie. But getting back to all the trades that happened yesterday, we'll go a little bit more in depth. So in addition, like I said earlier, with Andreas Athanasiou, you're looking at, along with him, he's going to play with Connor McDavid on McDavid's left side. And they also picked up Mike Green, a guy on defense who's been very solid for the Red Wings over the years. Not to mention that he was due to move, but they needed that with Oscar Klefbom being out of the lineup for an extended period of time. One of the biggest shockers to the league was Vincent Trocheck of the Panthers moving to the Hurricanes. A guy that I know, big Mikey Felger was high on, that he liked for the Bruins, second line right wing. I personally like Trocheck. I thought he would have been an awesome fit. Dude's playing fucking baseball out there half the time when like pucks are bouncing off the glass, going out in front. He's batting them out of the air, hitting them into the net, scoring. Just have another score update. Blackhawks up by 1 over St. Louis, as well as the Devils up 2-0 over the Red Wings right now. Going forward, we'll give some more updates as scores come in the around the league. Back to some more of the trades yesterday. J.G. Peugeot, another guy I liked that could have been a really good fit. He played very well, one of the top guys on Ottawa, which Ottawa should be detracted, bring back the Nordiques. But going to the Islanders, I think he's going to be a real fit. Going to push the Islanders into the playoffs, hopefully down the stretch here, keep them in contention. Going to play really well with Matthew Barzal, Brock Nelson. One of the bigger shockers I saw was Robin Lehner. Fuck. Calgary just went up 2-1 over the Boston Bruins, so we'll see how that unfolds going forward within the next couple minutes or so. There's Sean Monahan looking like 13:25 left in the second. But back to Robin Lehner on Chicago being dealt to Las Vegas. Traded goalie for goalie with Malcolm Subban, whom the Bruins drafted a few years ago, brother of PK Subban. Since he was traded from Boston to Las Vegas, or for that matter, just kind of being really like let go for the most part from the Bruins. He's actually played really well for Las Vegas as the backup to Marc-Andre Fleury, who's getting up in years. Kind of disappointed to see that Leonard's going to a team that already has an established goaltender. Leonard is certainly made his mark as being a starter in the league, but I could see Vegas going forward as having that another like very good goalie duo, much like Boston with Tuukka Rask and Yaroslav Halak. Let's see, another big trade yesterday was Patrick Marleau to the Penguins from San Jose. Last year, San Jose had traded Patrick Marleau to the Toronto Maple Leafs. They ended up unloading him to the Hurricanes, who then ended up sending him back over to San Jose, and San Jose getting a third round pick out of it by sending him to the Penguins. I think he'll really fit well going in there with the other additions that the Penguins made, adding Jason Zucker a couple of weeks ago. And a couple other small players, Evan Rodriguez. So that was certainly a big one that I didn't expect to move. Another one that kind of doesn't make sense to me, to be quite honest with you, is fucking Wayne Simmons to the Sabres from New Jersey. Thought he was a solid fit for New Jersey, but New Jersey sucks, so they need draft picks as much as they can get. So they sent him to Buffalo. Don't know why he chose Buffalo. He had said that he thought he could really benefit from helping out a lot of the younger guys that they have on the team, like Jack Eichel, some of those other guys, along with like Jeff Skinner, Marcus Johansson, whom was on the Bruins last year, that we didn't re-sign, or we should have, but that's yet to be seen. He really hasn't done a heck of a lot in Buffalo this season. But no, overall, Simmons should be a good fit. Probably going to play either the second or third line. Going forward, you're not really going to see a heck of a lot for Buffalo. And looks like Calgary just went up 3-1 over the Bruins. Much like last Friday when they played up in Calgary. Boston found themselves in the same hole, down 3-1, came back, ended up winning 4-3 on a goal by Marchand in the second on Friday. And the Bruins held on to win. Bruins seem to be very good at home, so we'll see if they can pull something out, get their heads out of their asses, and move forward. Moving up, Sami Vatanen to the Carolina Hurricanes, another guy on New Jersey whom I thought was a solid defenseman, could be of use on the Bruins depth chart, a lot of teams for that matter, but the Hurricanes really need it due to Dougie Hamilton's fractured fibula. So you're really going to see Carolina probably move up in the standings over the next few weeks, going down into trying to make a push for the playoffs. Another one honestly made sense, Kovalchuk to the Capitals, being sent from Montreal to the Washington Capitals. And I believe Montreal ended up getting a third-round pick out of that. Honestly, it was between the Bruins and the Capitals. Capitals can fucking have him. He's old. Doesn't make any sense, to be quite honest with you. The Bruins have been in on him for years, or the last year or so, since he came back into the league. And to be quite honest with you, he really hasn't done a heck of a lot. He started to put his shit together in once he was traded from the Kings to Montreal. I mean, he's making little to nothing. He's making like $800K or something stupid like that. So, I mean, if the Bruins had made a move for him at that money, really wouldn't have gone fucking ballistic about it, but wouldn't have been terrible. Just going through trying to see some of the other trades from yesterday. But overall, looking back on the Bruins day, specifically, not too bad. As Joe Haggerty from NBC Sports Boston, Bruins Insider, said the other day, or earlier today or yesterday, he said the biggest winner from, the biggest takeaway from the Bruins was their cap space. They opened up a lot of cap space going forward. Guys that need to be signed, you're looking at Torrey Krug, Matt Grzelcyk, Jake DeBrusk. Kevin Miller's a UFA. I don't see them really re-signing him unless it's going to be cheap, where he's been injured for the full season and hasn't been on the ice since last regular season. You're also looking at some of the younger guys on the team, and as it goes right now, you're looking like the Bruins are in very good in a very good cap situation. You can re-sign Zdeno Chara. I wouldn't personally rather give him the give up the captaincy to Patrice Bergeron. Give it to him for a few years. Bergeron's nearing his Chara's nearing the end of his time, along with Bergeron. Bergeron's got a few years left, but looking forward, you got a hardcore group in the within the Bruins offense right now. Honestly, going forward, this is going to be probably your last year to really make a strong cup run with this core group of guys. Although, when you look at their cap space and their money, the guys that are signed, you have Marchand for a couple more years. You have Bergeron for a few more. Pastrnak, certainly, he's only 24. Once he's signed to Brusque, all these other guys, you're going to be a pretty solid team for the next few years to come, as long as Bruce Cassidy can stay in there and keep the team together and basically get them playing like they have been since he's really taken over. Not to really go totally in depth on the Bruins. Teams going around, we'll talk about Tampa for a few. Tampa's certainly been a powerhouse for the last 4+ years. Haven't really done anything. They were swept last year in the first round of the playoffs by the Columbus Blue Jackets, whom, for that matter, I can't understand why. But overall, they're going to be a force. You're probably going to end up seeing either Boston versus Tampa, Washington versus Tampa, Washington versus the Bruins in the Eastern Conference second round of the playoffs. Should be really interesting to see how that all plays out, especially where Tampa was kicked out of the playoffs real early last year. Looking forward, we're going to be here on Tuesdays, give or take around 8 o'clock, if you're really interested. I'm Nick DeCristofaro. Thanks to my producer over here, Scott Moore, and bystander, Matt Hamilton. This motherfucker just sitting down. He does the Red Sox podcasts, the Warning Track, I believe, what days? And it varies. It varies, but definitely go check out the Warning Track, Red Sox, anything baseball. He'll be joined sometimes by Austin Darty, Agriz. But he's a motherfucker still in school, so he'll be really kind of sparse, but it'll mainly be Matt talking baseball on there. Definitely check him out. I'll be on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, you name it, you can find me. I'm Nick DeCristofaro, signing off. Five for Fightin' Hockey Podcast.